Epic War 5 is considered by many to be the easiest game of the series, which makes it great for beginner speedrunners. To start the run, the player selects the hero Queen Etheria, who is the fastest of the 3 heroes in the game. This is because she has access to powerful spells like Ice Blaster, which deal damage with a chance to freeze, alongside Regen, which passively heals your troops. On top of that, the Queen has the strongest roster of troops in her starter deck, being the Centaur and the Vampire. As soon as level 1 begins, skip through the tutorial as fast as you can, and then press the M key to play the game at 3 times speed. Rush everyone forwards by pressing this button, or by pressing X on the keyboard. When your army destroys the cave, use Regen on your troops by selecting Queen Etheria, and then activating it roughly around where your army is located. From here, there isn't too much you can do, other than hoping that your vampires don't get killed by the troll boss. They are guaranteed to die, so let us pray that they deal a lot of damage before they bite the dust to save time. When the troll dies, you will hear a noise indicating that you have won the level. Take a look at your mana bar. When it stops increasing, press P to pause and then give up the level. Doing so will count it as a completion and will save anywhere from 3 to 6 seconds, depending on the level and how quickly you react to the mana bar stopping. However, if the glitch is performed too soon, the game will count it as you losing the level, and you will gain no reward, hence killing your run. Wait a couple more seconds if you're unsure. Throughout the game, you will notice that I'm looking away from the combat on screen, because Flash is known to lag a lot, so to reduce losing time to lag frames where possible, speedrunners will often look away from their gameplay by quickly switching between A and D continuously on their keyboards. After you beat a level in Epic War 5, you will unlock a new unit, and you'll get a new item in your inventory which can be equipped to your units for a stat upgrade. For example, you will receive a copper sword and the elf archers for beating level 1. So when you're brought to the world map, go into the formation menu and equip the archers. Don't equip the copper sword yet, we'll talk about items as we get them. The next 3 levels have very similar strategies, where the player rushes in with everybody whilst they hope for high damage rolls and then equip the new unit unlocked at the end. But each of them have some nuance that determine how effectively you can beat the stage. On level 2, the boss is a glass cannon wizard that can gain back its HP if it deals damage. A good rule of thumb is A, you want Queen Etheria and the centaurs to be in range to hit the wizard as well as the Anuki warriors, and B, the more melee units survive, the faster you will deal the fatal blow to the elderly mage. For level 3, if you manage to get a vampire in front of the beast rider, he won't be able to attack the vamp, and you can keep him in one place and your vampire won't die in one hit. And finally, you can lose level 4 very easily, as the Anuki warriors deal a lot of damage to the hero, so make sure regen is up when you have it available. By the time you finished level 4, you would have unlocked the wizards, the Tauros, and the Amazon from the missions complete. Now it's time to upgrade your troops. In Epic War 5, the upgrades are applied to each of the troops individually, as they will gain experience if you use them in battle. To give an example, for level 4, I got 43 experience for winning, which means that everyone I just used, including the Tauros who I just equipped, will gain 43 experience on upgrading their skills. We don't need to upgrade after every level, purely because it takes longer to upgrade than it does save time. But level 4 is the perfect time, since we have a full team of units, a stack of items, and plenty of experience for our troops. Look carefully at the upgrade sequence alongside my notes. After upgrading, we start level 5 with the Blitzkrieg. The optimal strategy is to avoid using any spells until we get to the Centaur boss, since now we have unlocked the powerful Ice Blaster spell. The spell costs 34 mana, which is deducted from the total mana pool when you cast it on the battlefield, which slowly increases throughout the level. The point is if you save your mana during the stage, you will be able to activate it twice on the Centaur boss for a swift kill. Level 6 is the first major boss level in Epic War 5, and you can tell straight away from the change in background music. First and foremost, we charge towards the enemy by pressing forward, and just like the previous level, the player shouldn't activate any spells until we face the Lamia boss. This level is easier to commit to this strategy, because unlike level 5 where you have to deal with pesky ranged units, all we have here are some little hobbits and an archer tower, which rarely targets the hero. When we arrive to the boss of the level, spam ice blasters in the enemy's vicinity. Then we pay attention to how our queen fights the desert queen. A player who prefers safety can use regen when our hero takes damage to guarantee the dub, but I don't really deem it necessary. Not only because Queen Etherea's attack animation is pretty passive in the way that she attacks from behind our melee troops, but she also charges forward on the offensive, which means that the Lamia is likely to miss her hitbox. Regen only if she freezes, because then you're screwed. Otherwise, destroy the boss, and we've got some upgrading to do. Level 7 is where the game starts to get very dicey. The level starts with your army charging forward, but this time we will pay extra attention to the units attacking our army. It is common to get high rolls here and die instantly, so the player this time will activate regen whilst attacking the enemy. There are also very annoying buildings like the cave, which spawn extra units, an explode tower which deals extra damage, and another spawner. Thankfully, we've equipped the Mjolnir to the Centaurs in the last upgrade menu, which boosts their attacks on buildings by 500, on top of the Centaurs having a piercing shot, which attacks multiple enemies. When we arrive at the boss, we can call him earlier than the game intended by using Ice Blaster on the Red Goblin. Whilst this strategy does save time, it can be very dangerous, as not only does the Demon Imp do a lot of damage, but you also have to take on these two trolls, which can cause their own problems. Fall back the hero when you need to, and retreat your ranged units if you can see the enemy getting close to them. With good micromanaging of units and spells, you can beat level 7 in under 90 seconds. On to level 8, and I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is if you beat this level, you are very likely to finish your run, and will no longer have to worry about your hero dying. The bad news is that your hero is very likely to die if you don't play this level well. When the stage begins, start out by killing the Taurus in the way. You will probably need to Ice Blast them. Beware the Fire Succubi damaging the hero, as you will need as much health as possible for when you fight the Phoenix. More often than not, casting regen is the right play here. When our units arrive to the Phoenix, pay attention to his position. If you can attack the altar behind him, you're ready to battle the bird. But if the altar is out of range, fall back a little so that the Phoenix follows you away from the altar and gets no passive healing to stall out his eventual demise. Queen Etherea is used to 1v1 the Phoenix, whilst your range deal as much damage as they can. So the player uses a weird combination of regen and Ice Blaster depending on your enemy's backline and how much health Queen Etherea is on. A general rule of thumb is 2 regens per Ice Blaster, but this is not a set in stone strategy. The player needs to pay attention to what's happening on the screen. what often happens is you'll run low on HP at around the same time the Phoenix runs low, and also you'll have no mana. In which case, you retreat the Queen by pressing S, and then you let the rest of your troops finish the bird off. Now that we've completed 2 of the hard stages, it is time to use the points we earned to upgrade our army yet again. On to level 9. We start the level by rushing forward, but holy moly, these 2 Tauros at the start can 2-shot your hero if you get unlucky. So deal whatever damage you can with the Queen and immediately fall her back when she's on low health. From here, you just have to go forward with the rest of your army until you get to the 3 Beast Riders on the other side of the map. Start off by Ice Blastering them. Try and get the big one on his own, but you're probably going to get all 3 of them. Then what we're going to do is we're going to move our ranged units in time with the beast mob. Our melee troops will go forward and stall out the push from the beast riders. Using that time, we can retreat our ranged troops ever so slightly so they can still deal damage to the boss, but then they're also safe from the attacks. What usually happens is the smaller guys die first, which means that your melee troops can go underneath the big guy, making their hitbox untouchable to the boss. Therefore, you can push with the ranged units again for a swift level 9 victory. Level 10 is one of 2 levels in the main campaign where we can see the entire battlefield without the black fog, and we can use that to our advantage. Start the stage off by assaulting forward to kill this building near the left hand side of the screen. Whilst your army deals damage to the spawner, pay attention to your mana, as we want to attack death with the Ice Blaster spell to maximize the time save that we get from the boss coming towards us. From here, use your troops minus Queen Etheria to beat this level in under a minute. For beating death, level 10 rewards us with a Platinum Sword, which just so happens to be the perfect time at which we go into the formation menu to apply our final upgrades of the any % run. Level 11 is one of the most complicated levels in the speedrun, because there are so many strategies that you can use. Firstly, all of the tactics involve some variation of rushing to the boss, but the important thing to note is that we have to use Ice Blaster once on these tanky beast riders and once on these 2 witches, to make the blitz faster and so that we have enough troops to beat the White Tiger boss at the end of the stage. Now, you saw how in the upgrade menu I unlocked the Arrow Tower. This is because we can build a tower in front of the tiger for 32 mana to stall the boss from coming forward, but also to bait out its attack, which displaces their hitbox towards our troops. To prepare for that, we position our ranged units just outside of the boss's attack range, so that when the tiger charges forward, our backline is ready to strike when the tiger enters their view. If the tower is destroyed, simply replace it with another one. Again, and again, and again, until the white tiger bites the dust. There may be a situation where you don't have enough for the arrow tower, or you simply don't buy them. In which case, you want to micromanage your ranged units as much as possible, but they will die, you're just delaying the inevitable. But that's okay because they're still dealing whatever damage they can. From here on out, you attack forward until you win the level, but there are way more variables out of your control when you do this strategy, which is why I recommend the former. It is also worth noting that a strategy exists where you use the Rage spell, and it has had varying results between players and players. So if you want, you can try it yourself and you may discover a faster strategy. And finally, the last level of the game, level 12, the Lord of Hell. For this level, you're given a guardian angel to help aid the battle, and is the other level where you can see the full battlefield. The player starts off charging forward to kill the spawner in front of these Anuki warriors. Ice Blast the Lord of Hell when the mana reaches 34, but unlike level 10, we actually want to retreat here, because it's too dangerous to engage the enemies in our way, so we let the Lord of Hell come to us. In the meantime, the angel will attack the Anuki warriors that are coming towards us, and then, when the Lord of Hell attacks, that's our cue to charge at him. We shouldn't need to regen our angel more than once, but do pay attention to her HP, as when the angel dies, it is a monumental time loss. Additionally, the player may trigger the golem standing in front, which although sucks, he's not a good matchup against our wizards and Ice Blaster, so it's not that deep. Once the Lord of Hell has been defeated, perform the pause glitch and close the ending cutscene. The game is now complete and you can stop your timer. Going through the run, the player learns skills such as micromanaging, mana counting, and a plethora of common tactics, all of which can be translated into other entries. But this was only talking about the any percent category of the game, where you only beat the main campaign. For there is more of the game to speedrun once you're finished. But that is another video for another day. Thanks for watching.